All right, good afternoon, everyone. This is the Wednesday, June 14th, 2023 meeting of the Little Rock Parks and Recreation Commission. Thanks everybody for being here today in person, commissioners, staff, and guests. We appreciate you. Let's go ahead and get started with a roll call if we can, please. Here.
Here.
Commissioner Samuel Ellis. Commissioner James Carson.
Here.
Commissioner Ken Fletcher. Commissioner Ben Green. Commissioner Linda Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Mike Bernardo.
Here.
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 Very good. Thank you, Miranda. Appreciate that. So according to the counts here, we have 6 out of 9 commissioners, so we have enough for a quorum. So we will continue and proceed with official business. Following along in your agenda, please, commissioners, you will see that we're ready to review and approve the May meeting minutes, which were previously distributed out. Did anybody have any amendments, questions, comments about the May meeting minutes? No questions or comments for the May meeting minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the May meeting minutes, please? Move to approve by Commissioner Firstel. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Bernardo. Any further discussion on the May meeting minutes? If not, all those in favor of approving, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, meeting minutes have been approved unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to citizen communication. I do know that we have one guest. We have 2 guests with us today, but one guest specifically is going to have something to share with us. So, Mr. Evans, we'll call on you first and give you the floor. If you would approach the podium, and we have about 3 minutes allocated. So go ahead, sir.
Is this working?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. I want to thank you for giving me a couple of minutes to talk to you about our organization, the City Parks Conservancy. I'm the treasurer of that organization, and I might add that your chairman, Matt, is also our chairman, and he's doing a spectacular job of bringing this organization back to life. Our mission is to provide resources and support to the Parks and Recreation Department to help beautify and improve parks throughout the city. In that vein, I'm here today to announce that we have, that I'm announcing a gift of $15,000 from the Parks Conservancy to go toward the betterment of the Little Rock Parks. The gift is made possible from citizens and visitors that have contributed to our organization. And I know that many of you are among those citizens that have contributed to the organization, and thank you very much. Very quickly, we're going to have a press release coming out here shortly, but also on our website, we're going to set up specific pages to provide information on progress that's being made on these parks project. And just for reference, our website is cityparksconservancy.org. So if you want to kind of keep up with what's happening with the projects that we're involved in, that'll be a great site before too long to keep an eye on what's happening. I have presented the check to Leland already. Again, thank you very much for the time to speak. And we hope this is the first step toward getting the organization back up and meaningful in the future of the Parks and Recreation Department. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Evans. All right, very good. Let's see here. Our other guest, Mr. Cody Lors, is here. He's visiting and taking in all things Parks Commission. So thank you for being here as our guest. We appreciate you. All right, let's move on now into our agenda. So we're up to staff reports. So Director Couch, shall we get started?
Yes, absolutely. Angela, if we could lead off.
Okay, staff report for resources. With the human resource area, we are gearing up for summer programs, actually began June 12th. Everyone is prepared, ready to go. Supervisors have been real successful in filling positions for all assigned areas, and also to make sure that everyone is in their appropriate budgets. We are also interviewing for administrative assistant, still continuing to fill positions. Maintenance and recreation, we're moving forward with those positions, and we have filled a couple of those as well. Now we are working on our parks handbook. We try to update this every 2 years if possible, with the participation of all managers on board. Just having to deal with changes and to make sure that everything comply or every rule comply with our city administrative policies and procedures guidelines. On the payroll side, we're adhering to change. We're making a few changes in that area, making sure everyone is on the same page, doing everything correctly. We will be conducting site visits just to make sure that everyone is in compliance. Finance, we're staying abreast of our invoices, outstanding invoices if we, should run across any. This is very important for our department because we're such a large department. We can get over it between 500 to 1,000 invoices a month. We're continuing to work on our statement of value inventory. This appears to be non-ending. However, we are going to try to finalize that this week. Also focusing on professional development, which is very important in every aspect. We had a chance to go to a supervisor's boot camp that was on yesterday. We had 5 staff members to attend. We learned some very, very valuable information about conflict resolution, ADA, and diversity. And that concludes resources.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Nelson. Any questions? Questions or comments? I appreciated your comment about the never-ending finance issue there. I hope that brings some resolution for you sooner than later. All right, very good. Let's see. Director Couch, we're moving on to who next?
That would be Shawanda for our
Recreation.
Good afternoon. Recreation, we're gearing up for our summer playground program. It has started. It started on June the 12th. We have about, let me give you a count. We have about 207 children at the Dunbar Community Center. Stevens Community Center has about 120. Our baseline location has 51. J.A. Fair has 27. Washington Elementary has 19. East Little Rock Community Center has 12, and our Summer Laureate program has 100 children. And also we have our Therapeutic Recreation Division. They have their camp started, and that location is at the War Memorial Pro Shop, and they have about 20 campers at that location. So this week they're focusing on all of the rules and regulations of the program, making sure that everyone get acclimated to the staff and to the groups that they're in so that they can understand how we operate and the rules and the regulations. And next week, they'll be out in the community doing various field trips and activities. So that's what's going on with our community centers and our summer playground program. Also, the baseball program started on Monday night, and it's a lot of kids out there. We have about 21 teams that's out there playing at the West Central Community Center. So if you don't have anything to do this evening, They'll be out there this evening. The concession is open. They're selling various items in the concession. Really good nachos if you like nachos. So yes, so come out and watch the kids, various ages, play baseball this summer. Our tennis, we had, excuse me, we get to, no, okay, sorry. Tennis, we had the Little Rock Open, and on May the 28th through June the 4th, we got a lot of good compliments on the tournament. The players love the trees there, and they love our Southern hospitality. The mayor also spoke at the opening ceremony. We had about 75 players from various countries and states to participate in that particular tournament, and it was a major upset. Mark Lejean from Estonia, he was first place, and he was a 20-year-old. He was a not seeded player, which upset everyone. So it was a great tournament there, and they just wrapped up yesterday the Southern 16s in the Rock, and that was they had 225 boys and girls from the 9 Southern states to play in that particular tournament, which is a important Southern championship tournament for their tennis season. Jim Daly has upcoming events. They are having the world's largest swim lessons on June the 22nd from 10 to 11, and the cost is free. So if you know of anyone that would like to participate in learning how to swim, they can go over to Jim Daly. Also, they have a late night. Let me keep going. Okay. Have a late night basketball program starting today, actually, from today until August the 11th, and the cost is $3 for 16 to 17-year-olds, and 18 and up is $5. And also, they'll have a summer at the pool, June the 17th. They'll be showing the Minions. July the 15th, they'll be showing Puts in Boots. August the 19th, they'll be showing Top Gun, and the cost is $5 per person. The gate opens at 7:30, and the movie will start at sunset. So anyone can go and participate in that. Make sure you have on your swimming trunks and you follow all the rules and the regulations of the pool at that location. And I think that concludes my report.
All right,
Any
very good.
questions?
Yes, questions.
Great report. I mean, outstanding. Y'all are so busy this time of year. Are the summer playground numbers near where we were before COVID?
No.
No.
Not at the school locations, but at the community centers there. And they're taking registration right now. So people have been slow to register, but they always kind of wait till the first week pass, and then some people are gone on vacation right now. So when they come back, they'll start participating in all the activities.
I'd like to add to that too. So Shawanda, correct me if I'm wrong, but Daryl, who runs our summer playground program, was telling me that some of the school locations that are really popular are actually under renovation or construction right now. And so that's thrown off some of our locations. Is that correct?
Yes, in the past, we used to have about 10 locations, but since that's the renovations and all of that stuff going on, we weren't able to get all the schools that we needed.
Great question. Anyone else?
Yeah, I was going to ask on the East Community Center, you said another one, and it's not hitting my brain, but there's a couple that had very low. Is that
Washington, JA Fair. Yeah, because most everybody like to go to the community center, so that fills up first. So once that fills up, then everyone else is filtered down. We do have a few waiting lists, but we're just gonna try to push them to another location instead of having them wait on a spot at those other locations.
Any other questions? I would like to just put out a reminder that the golf tournament that we hold, that the Parks Commission puts on in partnership with Parks and Recreation and Rebsamen Golf Course, and Lauren's going to talk about that a little bit more here in a minute. But just a reminder that the proceeds go to fund summer playground programs. So just a reminder that we are actually doing a lot of good by funneling monies into that program. So thank you for what you're doing there, Director Couch.
Yeah, one more addition to this whole conversation, and Shawana can again correct me, but West Central Community Center, just so everybody's still on the same page here,
Right.
is still being utilized by FEMA. And FEMA will be utilizing that, as of my last understanding of agreement, until the end of June. So we'll be looking to open as soon as possible in July after some cleaning and a little bit of maintenance work. So that offsets some of our numbers in terms of those. Our ball field complex is still active, and it just started
Right,
this week.
on the 12th.
Yep.
That's correct. We do plan to open that site as another location once FEMA vacates the facility.
Very good. Before we move on to the next report, I do housekeeping. I do see that Commissioner Ellis has joined, so I would like the record to reflect that Commissioner Ellis is here and present. Commissioner Ellis, I saw you waving your hand. Obviously, you can hear us. No, okay, very good. And I do know that Commissioner Eldridge is with us as well. I know traveling on the road right now. Lauren, I don't know if you can hear us, but we do need to have your video turned on as soon as you can, please.
Yeah, I'm getting gas. I didn't want it to be a distraction.
Oh, okay, that's
Sorry.
fair enough. That's fair
I'm
enough.
on
Thank you very much, Lauren. Okay, we need to move on to the next report. So, Director Couch.
Yes, Justin, if you could fill us in on operations. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So for the operations division, start off first with maintenance. Just really busy this time of year, I guess, with just kind of typical summer type stuff as far as maintenance goes. Since Memorial Day, we've been operating and maintaining all the splash pads in the park. I've been seeing a lot of use out of those. It's been doing really well. Another big kind of challenge that we've had this year, here recently, we've upped having to run our garbage truck from 2 days a week to 3 days a week. And that's still with the typical staff shortages that we've seen. We've just seen a lot more usage in a lot more parks. So trying to overcome that, but we're up to running that truck 3 days a week through all the parks, maintaining grass, urban forestry still in Murray. And we've actually got all our operations division there, kind of doing a final push through this week. We met with FEMA there, last week, I believe, week before, and did a final walkthrough and kind of finalized some of the final project list with FEMA on that. So now we're doing the final push through and kind of tidying up, getting ready, which then the next step will be bringing in contractors to actually do the rebuild on that. So exciting to see some project on that, progress on that. Our design division's been working pretty extensively, and I think I see it as an agenda item later, which we'll talk about. But a lot of the bond and ARPA projects have been pretty busy with a lot of meetings. It's been pretty time-consuming meeting with a lot of those different groups and engineering and architect firms getting ready to kick off and starting to kick off a lot of different projects. So that's been a big goal of that. And then with the operation and improvement crew, some of the projects that we've completed since the last commission meeting, we've installed a new sign at Pankey Park. That new sign's complete. There's also a new picnic area at Riverfront. The only thing it lacks is paint, and that may possibly, it was supposed to be done this morning. It was primed. It was supposed to be painted this morning. I don't know, the rain may have delayed that. But paint, and then waiting on the picnic table to actually be installed. But it's a really, really nice area. If you haven't walked down there and seen that, I would encourage that. Also, the mud run, I think they'll talk probably about the actual event, but the guys completed the mud run course. That was a little bit of a challenge, but I think overall it worked very, very well. And then so they'll be putting that back in place and making that area sustainable this coming up week. And then currently they're at Murray, going through phase 2 of the banana sculpture, actually finishing out the plaza and sidewalk and really dressing that area up. So that'll look very, very nice. So that's really kind of the biggest project since our last meeting. I know it's with the date change was a little bit shorter month, but if anybody has any questions.
Questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, on Canis Park, do you have any new estimated dates for the bridge?
Yes,
And
we do.
also-
We did have a site visit scheduled for yesterday that the contractor had to cancel due to the stomach flu, but we were able to get some dates. The footers are poured. Let me put those dates are in my phone. The footers are poured and I don't want to quote you wrong. Leland may remember it. Was it the 27th? The crane will be on site the 27th. Is supposed to be on site to actually set the bridge. And so that's a 2 to 3 day process to actually set the bridge. So it's cranes ordered and I can see light at the end of the tunnel. It's the cranes ordered and that's the date it's scheduled to be there now.
Okay, great. And is there an estimated date for the basketball courts? Just curious about that.
We're kind of holding off. I think the overall project, the last date we've been told, is still tentative, looking towards the end of July into August sometime is still where we're shooting. We're not really pushing the basketball court. I think it's pretty much ready minus installing goals and stuff, but we're kind of just not really pushing getting that. I know parking's really restrictive, so until the bridge is done and the roadways reopen, we're not really pushing that to be completed till towards the end of the overall project. I think it would just that's going to be a portion of the project that we save to the end.
Got it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to add to that too, Mike, just for clarity. Our goal was to meet with the contractor on site.
Yeah.
This, when was that?
was yesterday.
Yesterday, yesterday. So that we could give you the group a really firm, updated report. And it was canceled last minute. We're rescheduling that to go back out there and have a clear understanding of here are the steps, we really need to move this thing forward. They're discussing with us the fact that it's really pretty much getting near completion. You just don't see that. And we'll set the bridge. And once we do that, then everything's going to come together, right? I'm optimistic, but I'm still concerned now that, things aren't moving as quickly as they should be. But I'm really excited to see this kind of come to an end. I know you are, and the rest of the Canis Park users are. So I just wanted to add that, and then would like to just cover a couple other quick projects. So Interstate Park roadway project, we're meeting out there into this month with the contractor to kick off that project, which is the resurfacing, really renovation of the main park entry road, the whole road system in that park. Also, a project I've talked about for years is Bull mountain biking. That's starting this Friday. I'm having a kickoff meeting for that. So there'll be some significant improvements there. And then Western Hills is continually moving forward. We have a restroom that is, was it going to be delivered next month, I think?
It'll actually probably be August. They were about
August.
They were about 3 months out.
We're having a prefab restroom delivered there, so we're moving forward on our continual updates out there. Playground and pavilion have been completed, and they're all up and operational there. So those are just some highlights. We have some other projects that will be coming out very shortly, and we will give some new updates next meeting.
Very good. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Before we move off, I do have to ask, because you have it listed here, Mr. Dorsey, the Banana Sculpture Plaza Phase 2, there's a Phase 2 for the banana sculpture?
That's the completion of the rest of the plaza, which is basically connecting sidewalks to it. We've got the stonework and the pedestal that the banana's on. Now we're working on the actual fence work and sidewalk connections from the parking lot and to actually connect the rest of the trails.
Are we going to see some little bananas maybe trailing behind later?
You want a trailing? There's an idea.
On top of that, I mean, the goal always when we installed the banana was not just an awesome piece of sculpture for fun and all that, but it is a entry location into Murray Park from the river trail. And it's going to we're adjusting the cross traffic that goes across Rosamond Park Road to the trail on the other side, the crosswalk and all that. So it's going to be a real kind of collection point for the park, and we're cleaning up a lot of little things down there. That whole project got really subsided or pushed back because of all the tornado stuff. I haven't covered any of that either, but staff's been working a ton on the tornado stuff in terms of cleanup. There's not, contractors not doing all the work in the park. That is the contractor that's doing all the tree removal. We're doing a lot of hand pickup stuff. Our utility aspect at Murray is the biggest thing that's created challenges down there. We receive, I would say, almost every day requests for reservations at Murray. I would like to just report out, it is our goal to get that up and running as soon as possible. I know it looks very slow, but we lost all power along that corridor. And so we're waiting on energy now to reconnect our main system, which we've had rebuilt. Then the pavilions will come back online, the restrooms will come back online. And now we're moving forward with replacing the roofs on the pavilions and other improvements. So it's just been a long process. And Reservoir is a whole nother process, and that's a whole lot of work there. And then also the Rock Creek corridor, we are working with NRCS, and they're providing funding for us to move forward with that. And so we'll do a complete cleanup out there. But that's why there's a whole nother process there, was getting the funding from NRCS to do that work. So just thought I'd throw in a little update on that tornado there too.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that update. Obviously, Ms. Nelson, Ms. Craig, Mr. Dorsey, thank you guys for all that you do, month in and month out. We really appreciate all the stuff that you guys are involved in. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, old business, the bond and the ARPA projects. Director Couch, did you want to say a word on that? Anything to add?
I think I've covered it quite a bit. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to discuss it. We have moved on to another phase. So all the ARPA projects have all been approved by the board in terms of design process. So we're moving forward with design process with professional consultants, looking at all the facilities. The goal is to get all that designed out this year, with the goal of putting out bids towards the end of this year or first of next. And then bond, we've already started spending a little bit of money out of the bond on some fleet acquisitions, and designing playgrounds for the neighborhood parks and on and on. So we're moving forward. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to address.
Any questions on this particular topic? Okay, then let's move on to the next topic, scorecard analysis, park assets. Anything to share?
Yeah, so I was planning on giving a really bigger analysis today on the scorecard. However, I need a little bit more time to review some of your inputs. And if you haven't all put in your inputs, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, there was 2 recreational components, 2 programs, 2 facilities, and 1 miscellaneous. I do appreciate everybody that did get that, and some of you might not have gotten the information, but I will take all the information that we have and give out a better report next month.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Was there anything else we need to discuss on point C there, the future dates and WebEx usage? No?
I don't believe so.
Okay. All right, very good. Then let's move on to the next order of business, upcoming events. Any special upcoming events that you'd like to mention?
Yeah, so Shawanda covers a lot of our events in her report. So they're actually dated in her report. And we kicked off a lot of big events or big new things this month, which was the summer playground and all the things that she covered. So I don't want to go back through all of that. One other big planning event is Mike Garrity down there is working on our eclipse planning. If there's any questions on that, Mike could answer that. But we have a workshop next week on that. And so we're just moving forward. A lot of those projects too, or events that will be coming up, I'm assuming there'll be some groundbreaking and ribbon cuttings for those, but nothing's planned of yet.
Okay, very good. And just to say another quick word, thank you for the commissioners who did come out to the Dunbar Gardens last month. We appreciate seeing everybody there. I know that the entire department would love to see the commission at more events, so I'm sure we'll try to be better about that in the future. All right, next, question? Yes.
I get these call for volunteers. I'm very interested in the upcoming one on invasive species removal. Could we somehow get some of those added to our reports, just so we have it in writing, some of the volunteer opportunities?
Absolutely. And we could actually have, you know, at a certain point, have the volunteer coordinator come and give an update. But yes, that's actually another event that Linda mentions is we're having it's not finalized, so I didn't bring up the actual date, but we're tentatively looking at maybe doing something July 15th. Tentatively looking at Boyle Park, where these are all in process. But the goal is to have an event based around using volunteers help to remove invasive plants in our city parks. So there'll be more information on that.
All right, very good. Looking around the room, no further questions. All right, then let's move to the next item on the agenda. And I believe, Director Couch, you've got a special guest here with us today.
Yes, absolutely. So I would like to introduce Courtney Perry. He is our safety and ADA coordinator for the department. He handles many things. He's very detailed in his analysis. So I asked him to give us a report on security. I've seen parts of it and looking forward to seeing the whole report today. You know, there might be more information here than we want to get into or less, but just if the commissioners want to ask questions and we'll drive it from there, but I'll turn it over to Perry and let him give his brief report.
Good afternoon, and like Mr. Couch said, my name is Courtney Perry. I'm the Safety and Training Coordinator for Little Rock Parks and Recreation, and I'm going to deal with the park security criminalisis. If you pay attention to whichever your closest screen is, we'll just kind of run through this information. All right, so basically, the information I gathered from this, I took from the LRPD data portal from the years 2014, pretty much to present, right? So there's a whole lot of information and we won't go through it. If you'll just kind of click through the green tabs, the green tags rep, the data sources from where it comes from, but I'll show you how that makes sense here in a minute. But pretty much I went through from year to year and extracted from that information all the reports from 2014 to 2023 that had anything to do with all our parks. All right. So this chart that you see up here lists all of our parks. They're grouped by wards from Ward 1 through 7, also color-coded for simplicity. But if you were to just go all the way across from year to year, what's listed on top there on the tags are pretty much all the different crimes that's common to all our parks. Breaking and entering into vehicles, theft of properties, et cetera. Keep going. We're doing good. All right. So at some point, at one point or another, we've had either one or both or a few of these things that actually happen at our parks. Some parks more than others. For the parks that you might see look blank right there, I couldn't find any information, and trust me, I looked on all of these parks. So that either means one, those parks are that safe, or two, crimes happened there, but the crimes weren't reported. All right. Okay. So that's just summary of what that looks like at a snapshot. Keep going. Next tab. So I went through and individually for every park went through from year to year, as you can see on your screen there, and just kind of went down and then listed all the various crimes for all the different parks as the incident numbers, the dates, the times, which all this is useful information, because what we can actually do further with information is we can actually, like say, for example, let's say we put all the data together, right? We can ascertain, for example, this particular park at this particular date or time of year, right, has this type of crime the most, right? So we can use that information to, to pinpoint those type of things, and then see what we can do about, um, you know, that type of crime in our parks. Um, maybe those times, for example, are good times for LRPD to patrol, right? So we can use the information for useful things like that. Keep going to the right. As you see, all the tabs are color coded. Again, those match all the different wards. So if you're like the director of a ward, you can, could kind of get a picture of how safe certain parks are in your ward based upon this basic information right here. So keep going through, continue going.
Perry, could you show the summary report that you have?
Yeah, that the summary report was just up. Go to the yellow tab. We will refer
The
back to
bar
that.
graph one?
Yeah. So go back to the yellow tab. You guys hear me okay? Okay, right there. Is this what you're referring to?
No, the actual bar graph where you have.
Okay, that's coming up next. All right. Sorry, Brianna. Go forward. Forward. Just keep clicking tabs. Get past all the pretty colors. Click on one of those tabs. Let me see. Okay,
Right there.
go back to the first uncovered uncolored tab. So in addition to all of that, to however show that other information, what we've got here as well is pretty much a profile view. All right. So at a glance, you can go through and from year to year and kind of see, at a glance, what types of crimes spike. All right. All the different color codes are to the different crimes and such at the bottom there. Might be a little bit hard to see if you're trying to read it from here, but
Barry, I'm
just
gonna stop
keep
you
clicking
there.
through.
So this is really good information. There's so much information. That's what I was starting by saying, Perry,
Yeah.
we'll just dive into data and go and go
Right.
and go and go,
So
which is great. But I know we're on a time frame, and so I really want to have an opportunity for commissioners to ask questions, as well as this is information that we can send out to commissioners
right.
so that they can dive into it in more detail.
Right. So if you're interested, I'll be happy to put together this information for you and send it to you. Just let Mr. Couch know, and he'll let me know, and we'll go from there.
Yeah,
Very good.
absolutely.
Questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, so awesome work. Thank you
Thank you.
for doing that. It takes people getting into the
Oh,
the
we'll get off
numbers
in the
to really
weeds.
figure this out. So based on everything you've done, what are the top 3 parks that you would consider problem areas?
That depends upon the year, so we can actually start back and then kind of go through
Today.
right, and just kind of look at the spikes. But if I remember correctly, Southwest is one that really had issues with crime based on the data. I do remember off the top of my head.
I'd like to comment on that too. So Southwest was something that Perry did bring to my attention, and that's our Southwest Community Center.
Right.
And so there's a lot of data here, and I started asking questions like, well, that's really odd because there's a police substation there. So then we went into it and said, well, maybe these are police reports that actually are reported by police. And so it might be like, is there an opportunity or a chance that Little Rock PD, as they're pulling back into their substation, or sitting there putting something in, or I don't know. So we those are kind of some of those highlighted ones, those anomalies we really need to look into. But this report allows us to start looking at those higher areas of issues and address them. So.
Right. And that's the whole point. Thank you. Any more questions?
Questions? Yes.
Please,
Go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Linda.
Again, great job on this data. I think is great. One report I think would be useful, which is similar to the bar, but instead of that, it'd be great to have just a line graph
Mhm.
that shows over the years, or even just the past 12 months or whatever, so that we can kind of see if there's a trend
Right.
going up or down, and maybe have, a line for each of the categories. So auto break-ins as opposed to assaults.
Right.
There would
Yeah,
make a
so
difference, right?
we can use the data that we have here and show it in any way that best suits your interest, right? So yeah, no sweat.
Maybe a question more for Leland. So obviously we haven't had a lot of time to digest all this, but the logical question is going to be, is there something that we can do to help with those situations?
Yeah,
Like
so
what-
absolutely. So I would challenge Perry here to do what you just said, is kind of break this down with the line graph or more information, or the top three, as JT said. And I would start, my goal is to start working with Chief Hilton and figure out how do we offset some of this? Or are they doing reports similar to this that are different? Or, can we start providing this to them and start working on those problem areas? My experience so far is, and I know there's issues in different parks and particularly parking lots, is that typically once we start addressing those issues, then the issue moves somewhere else. And so we've talked a lot about how to address that, with security and license plate readers and video cameras. And we've done a lot of different scenarios, but ultimately we're just moving the problem. And so there was even an idea that we recently had was how do we almost move with the problem more, and so studying some of these patterns. But ultimately, we can't close every park, and we can't put a security guard in every park. We're just way too big, too many acres to do that. So it's a challenge, and but this is definitely helpful.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
Question, Linda? Yeah.
Leland, you mentioned parking, and I ride my bike and I park down at the bottom of Overlook, kind of along the riding trail. Is that still considered part of Murray Park?
Are you referring to the Big Dam Bridge area parking? Yes. So we refer to that parking lot area as the Big Dam Bridge parking lot. But yes, that would be part of Murray Park.
That's where I know they've had, you're right, it's cyclic.
Yeah.
Seems like some car windows broken and stuff taken, and then it kind of clears up and we're all glad to park there again, and then it comes back. But anything you can do in that area, it's so highly used, I think, by the bikers, but many of the visitors to our city are parking there so they can walk around that area too. And security in that area would be appreciated.
I understand. Thank you.
So just real quick, kind of to your earlier point there. This is a lot of information, but what we can do is extract the information that's important, so we can find trends. And once we determine the trends, right, then we can kind of focus on like what park or what times, all those type things, and then address those with the LRPD guys and see what we can do to really kind of drive these things down. So
Very good.
any more questions?
Any more questions? Questions? All right, very good. Thank you for that great report. Much appreciated. Lots of information there. We probably could have spent a lot more time talking about that. So I hope we can have more conversations about that in the near future. All right, moving on
Matt,
to, let's see.
Can I interject real quick?
Yes, absolutely, Lauren. Please go ahead.
Sorry, I'm in the boonies and I'm losing reception here and there. I wanted to just reiterate everybody's comments that that's an amazing spreadsheet. And if I can hire you to do my next Excel spreadsheet, Barry, I would. But second, I wonder if this is just a suggestion or a tip, I guess, or just my own thoughts. If there's any way.
Hey, Lauren, you're really starting to break up. Can you make a request one more time?
Data point
Yeah.
about
Hey, Lauren, I don't know if you can hear us, but we're having a really difficult time hearing you.
security.
perfect sense.
measures are in place in the parks that you're. I am in Newport, so. I'll blame it
Lauren,
on
I'm
the
sorry. Try one more time. We seem to have you there. Let's see if we can get you real quick.
Well, AT&T doesn't reach out to Newport. I guess. Oh, but I am cell
Hey,
tower.
Lauren,
Nope.
put the 80s sunglasses back on.
All right, maybe we'll try to hear from Lauren a little bit later on. Actually, we are ready to hear from Lauren on the golf tournament. It's your time
Can
for
you
the
hear me
golf tournament.
now?
Go ahead. Let's see what we got.
Awesome. Well, the golf tournament was really fun. We had great weather. Third year in a row that we've had great weather. So somebody's looking down on us. In this program, but I have to chase everything down and confirm that. I have a couple of outlying vendors that I need to get some money from, but anyway, I think that that's a pretty
Hey, Lauren. I'm going to interrupt you there.
positive chunk that we can hope to the ground to use to fit for the kids. So yeah.
Let's maybe, if you don't mind, perhaps maybe you could send us a communication about the update when you have a bit of time. I know traveling in the cell phone connection there is not the greatest, so maybe we can hear from you at a later time.
That's fine. I apologize.
No worries. No worries. All right, let's move on. Looking at our time here, 12:47. We've got about 13, 14 minutes left. We do need to perhaps maybe hear from the three committees that we have: social media and outreach, which is being chaired by Commissioner France, who's not with us here today. Was there anything that he may have shared with you, perhaps, Director Couch?
No, I haven't.
No? Or Mike, anything on that?
Trying to get together, the storm kind of put it off.
Sure. Okay. All right. Very good. No, that's fair. Master plan, turn into Linda for a second, an update to share.
Master plan has not met. Also, I attribute most of that to the storm and my schedule. But I am thinking that we've had several new people join, and maybe at the next meeting, we could look at the constitution of each of these subcommittees and see if we can add folks at the next meeting.
Absolutely, we can. Absolutely. Okay, very good. Normally, I'd call on Lauren to do a quick update from the Conservancy's perspective, but cell phone challenges there. Just quickly, we obviously heard from Mr. Evans earlier today about a donation made by the Conservancy. This is going to be kicking off a larger effort to increase awareness. And it's about time, if you ask me, and I take responsibility for making sure that that happens. But in partnership with Director Couch and all the other Conservancy board members, we're excited to move forward. And we think that this $15,000 donation is a great start. So hopefully more to come on that in the very near future. All right. So any questions, comments that we need to circle back around on for any of the committees? Yes.
This might be board liaison feedback, but would like to get some info on the curfew situation.
Yeah, let's cover that when we get to Director Peck here in just 1 second. Director Couch, I think you've had a, yes. So I think having some conversations, I think we may need to, in the master plan subcommittee. So Commissioner Smith, I think we might want to incorporate, or in the next meeting of the master plan subcommittee, let's bring up the topic of war memorial usage. Obviously, that is a very, very important park in our city, a very high profile park, but let's consider looking at that particular park and some opportunities that we can perhaps bubble up, if you will, from the Parks Commission up to Parks and Recreation and then on up to city director level. Very good. We'll make that a topic of the next master plan. Okay. Next item agenda, or the next agenda item rather, is agenda items for next meeting. Are there any new agenda items that we need to add for next month? If not, then we will turn the floor over for our remaining time, about 10 minutes here, to Director Peck for some feedback.
Okay, thank you, Matt.
Can we keep, I'm sorry. I wanted to see
Go.
if we could just keep talking to Perry because it was such a fun conversation to have. And I love his spreadsheets. That's all.
Indeed.
I mean, talk to Perry now and not me, Lauren.
No,
Are you-
absolutely not.
I'm kidding you.
Absolutely not.
I'm kidding
I'd
you.
add an extra hour for you, Cappy.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so first things first, the curfew. So the board passed last night a curfew for entertainment districts for youth. This was primarily requested by business owners in the River Market area specifically, not so much in the other entertainment districts. And the fact that with summer months, there are more people out carousing, and it appears that a lot of parents are dropping kids off at the River Market just to hang out. The couple of businesses there have closed lately. There was a threat of one major restaurant leaving if we didn't enact this curfew. Of course, that's not why we did, but we did it for public safety purposes. The curfew is at 9 p.m. And it's just, a bad mix when there is an entertainment district where you can, drink on the streets and you've got a lot of underage people there that are unsupervised. That was part of it. There's also a homeless issue that I know you all are aware of that is pretty aggressive in the River Market. Hopefully that will also be addressed when the ambassador program is launched here in the next few weeks. It extends not just to the entertainment district, but also to any park or pavilion that's adjacent to it. This is particularly targeting River Market because there were a lot of kids congregating there and just getting into fights, yelling, kind of intimidating other people. So hopefully, did that answer the question? 9 o'clock, there was some board discussion that they wanted it to be 10 p.m. No, the kids won't be carted off to jail or they'll have a citation. It will be a warning. Again, this is just an effort to make this a safe and pleasant place for all people, especially people, our visitors and tourists that congregate in that area because of all the amenities that we have down there and the music venues and bars, et cetera. So we've gotten a lot of no pushback that I know of. A couple of the directors were a little bit hesitant. They thought it was a little bit of overreach, but the vast majority of the board, well, at least 8 of us voted yes. So I think that's a very good thing. The other big item on the agenda is that we're going back after the sales tax. This is maybe a little bit premature, but I don't think so. I mean, it will happen. The mayor's in the process now of talking to us all individually about what we would like to see in a sales tax. The plan is to go after a full penny. This would be in November. Heavy on parks. He talks about the 4 Ps. None of this has been fleshed out completely. He's getting input from us, and then we plan on having 2 or 3 public meetings to hear from the public. The 2 big parks that we want to talk about are War Memorial and Hyman. And Leland, I know you've been in discussion with him about that. The other Ps are public safety, the port for obvious economic development reasons, and then the other P is potholes or just infrastructure, public works. Sounds better, right? Potholes. This is not exactly Rebuild the Rock revisited. It will be much more specific. It won't have the education piece, the housing piece. It will be focused on those 4 Ps, which makes me excited because I'm all about parks. So I know that we will be able to have some input. We should maybe put this on as an agenda item. I know there's been talk of and I don't think this is a secret, everybody's talking about it, a sports complex in War Memorial, kind of on the backside, close to the interstate, some zoo enhancements, talk about at Heineman, disc golf, mountain biking, things like that, keeping the green space at War Memorial for the most part. Again, it hasn't been completely fleshed out, but I expect it to really ramp up here in July with probably public meetings in August, because we need to all be cheerleaders for this. We cannot grow and take care of our city if we don't continue to reinvest in it. So this would be an opportunity to do that. That's all I know. That's a lot.
Very good. Thank you, Director Peck. Questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, so, well, a question then a comment. So the curfew is just in entertainment districts, or is there a midnight for everyone? And then I read somewhere that it also includes parks, so.
It is my understanding, and maybe Beth should chime in here, because there were a couple of different iterations of this ordinance, and I didn't see the last one, but it was my understanding it would only be a park or a pavilion that's adjacent to an entertainment district.
That's correct. It's actually originally, the first time it was brought to the board, it was discussed to cover all city parks. There was a lot of concerns, and there was a lot of concerns I had on my part. There was a lot of discussion. It ultimately was passed that it's any city park that abuts an entertainment district. That's just simply how it is. So that's really riverfront. Sometimes some of the Heights, Promenade, and that's really it, the ones I can think of.
It's Soma, Heights, Hillcrest,
Yeah.
and
But I
River.
mean, I'm thinking of the parks that abut them, and there might be some other exceptions there that I haven't really done the geographic mapping of, but that's it.
That's good. Love the idea of a sales tax. Wish that would have passed the last time. I will cheer.
And you know,
I don't. I mean, good luck. I mean, the economy is just terrible right now, so
I know.
it's going to be tough.
It's going to be real tough, and a penny, that might sound like a big ask. And I know people are focused and have been very distracted because of the tornado and the possibility of a recession in the economy, but we have such a great park system. We've got to take care of it. We don't have the mechanism to do so in the way that we should and could. So this is going to be a lot more streamlined. I think we learned a lot of lessons with Rebuild the Rock. I think it was just too much, and there was a lot of gray area. So I've been, talking to the mayor, saying it's got to be super specific and simple for everybody to understand, and let's just stay with the 4 Ps. People, it's hard. It's rare that a parks tax does not pass, or public safety, or infrastructure. These are the things that people care about the most. So maybe I'm naive, but I'm hopeful. But I think it's really going to take a big team effort to push this.
Any other questions for Director Peck?
I have a question or comment. They're clients of mine, and I really don't mind saying it publicly. The biggest supporters, or I guess anti-supporters of the last tax bill, were the owners of the Little Rock Athletic Club and Racquet Club. Is there any outreach to them to see what got them up in arms, other than they don't want community centers getting better and taking their business? Like, is there any?
And I don't, and I'll talk to you offline about it. There's some more things.
They're in your ward, one of the clubs is, but that aggravates me.
I honestly think the reason that sales tax did not pass was not because of any one particular piece, but that it was so broad and it had not all been fleshed out. And there were a few things that were not under the 4 Ps. I think the affordable housing piece, the education piece, that people didn't like. And maybe some of your clients didn't like some of those pieces. I think if we keep it simple and we keep the things that resonate with everybody, the 4 Ps, that we have a much better chance. I think we learned a lot of lessons with Rebuild the Rock.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached our 1 o'clock time here. So if there are no further questions, and before we adjourn, Director Peck, thank you for being here. We know you've been out, and it's good to see you back here. Thanks for being here. Good to follow your business, and things are getting back up and going. So glad to see that.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for being here. It's great to see everyone in person. Much appreciated. We'll see you guys again next month on Wednesday, July the 12th. Wednesday, July the 12th. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.